Yes. Do you guys understand the difference between pure and political knowledge? Pure and political knowledge. Were you there in the last class? We discussed pure and political knowledge in the last class, am I correct? Yes? Page 9. The distinction between pure and political knowledge. Do you guys understand the difference? Yeah? You forgot? Look, you guys have to remember these things. Somebody start reading. Yes, you read. Page 9, I mentioned 3 aspects. Actually, no, read from the distinction between pure and political knowledge. Fourth line.
The distinction between pure and political knowledge. It's very easy to argue that knowledge about Shakespeare or Wordsworth is not political, whereas knowledge about contemporary China is. My own formal and professional designation is that of humanist, a title which indicates the humanities as my field, and therefore the unlikely eventuality that there might be anything political about what I do in the field. Of course, all these labels and terms are quite
unnuanced,
as I use them here. But the general truth of what I'm pointing to is, I think, widely held. One reason for saying that a humanist who writes about Wordsworth or an editor whose specialty is Keats is not involved in anything political is that what he does seems to have no direct political effect upon reality in the everyday sense.
Okay. Did you understand this part?
Sir.
Okay, let's start from the beginning. It is very easy to argue. Are you guys following me? It is very easy to argue that knowledge about Shakespeare or Wordsworth is not political. Do you guys understand this much? Translate. Translate in Bangla. It is very easy to argue that knowledge about Shakespeare or Wordsworth is not political. হ্যাঁ, সম্পর্কে যদি কারো কোনো জ্ঞান থাকে এটা পলিটিক্যাল না, রাজনৈতিক না। Okay. You guys understand? Everybody here understands this, right? Whereas knowledge about contemporary China, বর্তমান China, or the Soviet Union is, what does this mean?
China and Soviet Union knowledge টা political.
You guys understand the difference?
Yes, sir.
This is all. This is all of it basically. This is what I want you guys to know. Please, this might come in the exam. Please take note of this. What is pure knowledge and what is political knowledge? Pure knowledge is knowledge that is not connected to politics. Political knowledge is knowledge of politics. What kind of knowledge is connected to politics? Knowledge of a country's history, economics, culture, military strength, racial makeup, racial cultural makeup, population, terrain. These are political knowledge. What kind of knowledge is not political?
Knowledge about Shakespeare, knowledge about
Wordsworth. Knowledge, literature knowledge is not political.
But historical knowledge is political knowledge because history is related to politics.
Yes, directly. This is the first part. Then we read. Start from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 10. Second paragraph, line 10. One reason for saying that a humanist.
Is
Same page, page 9. One reason.
one reason.
Yes, your finger is exactly there. One reason.
Widely held report.
Wildly held report. Do you guys find it?
Yes.
Over here. One reason for saying that a humanist who writes about Wordsworth or an editor whose specialty is Keats is not involved in anything political is that একটা কারণ যে আমরা বলবো যে একজন এডিটর যে একজন এডিটর যে হচ্ছে কিটসের পোয়েম ধরেন এডিট করে বা ওয়ার্ডসওয়ার্থ একজন হিউম্যানিস্ট যে ওয়ার্ডসওয়ার্থ সম্পর্কে লেখে তার জ্ঞান হচ্ছে পলিটিক্যাল না হচ্ছে আমাদের দৈনন্দিন জীবনে তার কাজ কোনো এফেক্ট ফেলায় না, এই জন্য হচ্ছে এটা পলিটিক্যাল না সাইদের কথা অনুযায়ী। সাইদের কথা অনুযায়ী এই কারণে ধরেন আমি যে সাহিত্য করতেছি এটাতে আমাদের দৈনন্দিন জীবনের উপর কোনো প্রভাব পড়তেছে না, কিন্তু আমি যে কোনো একটা দেশের মিলিটারি স্ট্রেংথ করতেছি এটা একটা এফেক্ট পড়বে, কারণ পলিসি মেকাররা আমার কাজ ব্যবহার করে পলিসি বানাবে, এটা ভিত্তি করে বানাতে পারে, খুব এটাই করে আসলে। No direct political effect upon reality in the everyday sense. A scholar whose field is Soviet economics. What does this mean? A scholar whose field is Soviet economics.
Soviet economical part
A scholar, yeah, exactly. Economics works in a highly charged area. Highly charged area. Why is it a highly charged area? Guys, we just explained. Why is it a highly charged area? Why is studying Soviet economics a highly charged area?
Because
the knowledge about the Soviet and the China is regarding to the political.
Yes, because it's political. It will be taken up by policymakers, the knowledge that you produce. Where there is much government, highly charged area, where there is much government interest. There is government interest in these kinds of knowledge. And what he might produce in the way of studies or proposals will be taken up by policymakers, government officials, institutional economists, intelligence experts. These are people who will take up these information, the information that is being produced on these. The distinction between somebody who was
the distinction between humanist and person whose work has policy implications or political significance can be broad-ended further by saying that the former's ideological color is a matter of incidental importance of politics, although possibly of great moments to his colleagues in the field who may object to his
Stalinism or fascism,
or too easy liberalism, whereas the ideology of the latter is woven directly into the material indeed. Economics, politics, and sociology in the modern academy are ideological sciences, and therefore taken for granted as being political. Nevertheless,
okay, stop. The former's ideological color is a matter of incidental importance to politics. The ideological position or the political position that I take while I'm studying something like literature is of incidental importance to politics. What does incidental mean, guys? Coincidental or indirect? Occasional, coincidental or indirect? It's very indirect. Whereas the ideology of the latter, what is the ideology of the latter? Political knowledge is directly woven. Somebody who studies, let's say, political knowledge, somebody is involved in political knowledge, if he studies it, his ideology is directly mixed with the kind of work he does. Let's say somebody hates Soviet Russia. His the kind of work that he is going to produce is going to be affected by the kind of feelings he have towards Soviet Russia.
Negative feelings. Negative feelings.
Negative feelings, positive feelings, neutral feelings, whatever his feelings are, it will affect his work. That's what he's saying. Indeed, economics, whether he studies economics, whether he studies politics and sociology in the modern academy are ideological sciences. These are ideological science. What are ideological sciences? Economics, politics, sociology. And therefore taken for granted as being political. These are the political studies or political sciences. Okay?
So what is Stalinism?
Stalinism is the philosophy of Stalin.
Philosophy of
Stalin. Fascism. Fascism. You guys have been hearing the word fascivadi, right? Exactly. Fascism is excessive nationalism. All right. You guys need to keep note of this portion. Okay. Read it carefully. It's a. Let's just say I might put it on the exam. Okay. So I have a question for everybody here. Do you guys have a clue about why we are studying this text? No knowledge. Okay. So what is the name of this course? Are you guys aware? English for media. So we are basically study what? Media. Or basically English for media, the language used in media, the language for media, right? Why is Orientalism relevant for us in this course? How is this relevant to this course?
Like portrays the Occident, how they use the media to like dominate the
Orient. Exactly. So basically, we are studying media representations. And because the media is controlled by the Occident, this is important. What does the Occident do? Occident creates media representations about the Orient. Which is why this text becomes relevant, okay? Okay, back to where were we? Page 13. Page 14, right? No, not page 14. Okay, actually go to page 14. Last line, page 14, last line. Therefore. Yes, who wants to read? You are reading, continue. Therefore.
Therefore, I study Orientalism as a dynamic exchange between individual authors and large political concerns shaped by the three great empires, British, French, and American, in whose intellectual and imaginative territory the writing was produced. What interests me most as a scholar is not the gross political variety, but the decay. As indeed what interests us in someone like Lane or Flaubert or Renan is not the, to him, indisputable truth that Occidentals are superior to Orientals.
Okay, wait, stop. What does this portion mean? Can you guys take a guess? I'm going to read out a portion, okay? Therefore, I study Orientalism as a dynamic exchange between individual authors and the large political concerns shaped by the three great empires, British, French, and American. In whose intellectual and imaginative territory the writing was produced. What does this portion mean? It's very simple.
How they think about ourselves. How they think about ourselves.
Think about us. That's not all that there's. Of course, what they think about this whole text is about what they think about us. But what is this portion trying to tell us?
They are specifically writing about us what they think of us.
Of course, this whole text is about that.
It's like how the individuals are writing about us, and plus how the political countries like the British, French, and Americans are portraying us. The difference between the individual writer and the whole country.
This portion is saying that, look, these writers who are writing about the Orient, or these writers who are writing about us, are British, French, American. And it is from their political position of dominance that they're writing. So they're writing from a position of dominance, from a position of superiority, whatever they're writing about us. Okay, so when they're writing, they're keeping in mind, we are the political power, we are the dominant power, we are the superior race, they are the inferior race. Okay. It is from that mindset that they're writing. That is all. Okay?
So can I repeat that again?
Yes?
Repeat that again.
Was that very difficult for you guys to
No,
understand?
just need to
Look,
catch up.
they are writing from a position of power. What does that mean? It means that who are these people? Americans, French, and the British. They are writing about the Orient or the East. What kind of mindset do they have? What kind of attitude do they have when they are writing about us? Very superior attitude. Like they have the idea that we are the superior race. They are the inferior race. The Orientals are the inferior race. We are the superior race. Okay? We are the dominating power. They are the dominated power. It is from that mindset, from that attitude that they are writing. Whatever they write about the Orient. You understand why their writing will definitely be negative.
Yes.
Obviously, no doubt about it. Are you guys getting what I'm saying? I somehow I'm getting no response from this class. What's happening? The kind of political questions raised. Next paragraph.
The kind of political questions raised by the Orientalism then are as follows. What are short-term intellectual, aesthetic, scholarly, and cultural energies went into the making of the imperialist tradition, like the Orientalist ones? How did philosophy, lexicography, history, biology, political and economic theory, prose writing, and the lyric poetry come to the service of Orientalism's broadly imperialist view of the world?
Okay, so a few questions. What sorts of questions are you asking? What sort of intellectual, aesthetic, scholarly, and cultural energy went into the making of an imperialist tradition like the Orientalist one? Did you guys understand? That was a mouthful. Translate. You guys will understand now.
Hard one to translate.
How much time do we have? You guys need to be quick about this. We have time, but not that much time. Yes, are you thinking about the translation? Don't stare at me. The answer is not written on my face.
তারা কি ধরনের এনার্জিস গুলো ইউজ করছে টু মেক এ ট্রেডিশন যেখানে হচ্ছে লাইক দ্য ওয়েস্ট ইজ দ্য সুপিরিয়র এন্ড দ্য ইস্ট ইজ দ্য ইনফেরিয়র?
Look, we already did that. I'm talking about this portion, the portion that we just read.
স্যার এখানে মেনশন করছে যে ইন্টেলেকচুয়াল অ্যাস্থেটিক স্কলারলি এন্ড
What is
এনার্জি
what is intellectual, aesthetic, and scholarly?
intellectual is the like where you use your brain.
Yes.
Aesthetic is the like
Yes.
সৌন্দর্য
I don't know the exact meaning of the aesthetic.
সৌন্দর্য
Painting.
Painting.
Yes, aesthetic is chundorjo, but but what Said is trying to mean by aesthetic here is artwork, chitrokarmo, scholarly,
Scholarly as the philosophers.
yes, and cultural energy. Okay. What is imperialist? What is imperialist?
সাম্রাজ্যবাদী
Samrajyabadi. It took you guys long enough. It's not a difficult word. Come on. Imperialist tradition. What is tradition? Tradition is tradition. Oitijjo. Samrajyabadi oitijjo. Okay. Like the Orientalist one. The Orientalism is a imperialist tradition. Orientalism হচ্ছে একটা সাম্রাজ্যবাদী ঐতিহ্য। ঠিক আছে? ওয়ালাইকুম আসসালাম। সাম্রাজ্যবাদী ঐতিহ্যটা কিভাবে তৈরি হয়েছে? ইন্টেলেকচুয়াল, স্কলারলি, অ্যাস্থেটিক, কালচারাল এনার্জি ইনভেস্টমেন্টের থ্রুতে। ঠিক আছে? How did philology? Philology is a study of language. Lexicography, history, biology, political and economic theory, novel writing, and lyric poetry come to the service of Orientalism's broadly imperialist view of the world.
What is the meaning of lexicography?
Lexicography.
Study of the words.
Huh?
Study of the words.
It's like the way, yes, it is the study of words, you're right, but it's the study of, in particular, it's the study of the way we write words.
Writing.
The study of writing. Personally, I'm not too familiar with these disciplines because I've never studied them, so I wouldn't know. Yes, what does it mean, this portion? How did philology, lexicography, history, biology, political and economic theory, novel writing, and lyric poetry come to the service of Orientalism's broadly imperialist view of the world?
সাম্রাজ্যবাদী দুনিয়াতে এই জিনিসগুলো কিভাবে আসছে?
এই জিনিসগুলো কি?
যেমন হচ্ছে ফিলোলজি, ভাষাগত বিজ্ঞান, তারপর হচ্ছে lexicography, history, biology.
In short, he's asking the question: how did these things, all these disciplines, nearly all the disciplines that we study, how did they come into service of the imperialists? Okay. Basically, these disciplines are used by the imperialists. Okay, that's the idea he's trying to put forward here. Yes, somebody continue reading.
What changes, modulations, refinements, even revolutions take place within Orientalism? What is the meaning of originality, of continuity, of individuality in the context? How does Orientalism transmit or reproduce itself from one epoch
To another.
In fine, how can we treat the cultural, historical phenomenon of Orientalism as a kind of real human work, not of mere unconditioned
Ratiocination.
With all its historical complexity, detail, and worth, without at the same time losing sight of the alliance between cultural work, political tendencies, state, and the specific realities of domination. So, what is epoch?
Ki?
Epoch. E-P-O-C-H.
Epoch. Epoch is a period.
Like a time period.
Yeah.
Governed by such concerns as humanistic studies.
Wait, stop. This portion that we just read. Explain again. You guys help me understand this. What changes, modulations, refinements, even revolutions take place within Orientalism from here onwards to as far as you've read? Realities of domination.
What is ratiocination?
So basically, ratiocination is, I'm not exactly sure of the word, but in this context, I think Said is trying to say that ratiocination is probably used to mean something like objective study, not subjective.
And what is objective study?
Objective means, by this he probably means neutral, unbiased.
For example? For an example?
For example, you have been studying something, for example, any subject. Tell me a name of a subject. What is your favorite subject?
I don't have it.
What is your least disliked subject?
Math.
Math. Least disliked.
No, I just hate that.
Oh, you hate, most hated subject. Least disliked. সবচেয়ে কম অপছন্দের subject. Yes, you guys respond.
Economics.
Economics. Okay, fine. Do you think economics is an accurate representation of the world?
Accurate representation.
Do you think economics is an accurate representation of how the world works? Now, I'm just asking, give me your opinion. Do you guys think, whatever your favorite subject is, do you think it is an accurate representation of the world? Let's say economics, for example. She said economics. Do you guys think economics is an accurate representation of how the world works, how money flows? Yes? No. No, it's ideology. That is what this text is trying to tell us. Every single thing that you've studied is ideology. All right? This is hard to grasp, but everything is ideology. There is some purpose behind what you're being taught. A purpose, but this purpose only serves the West. It does not serve us, it serves them.
But if we are already notified about this, why don't we change this?
We love the current system too much.
So, whatever we are studying right now.
We already bought into their propaganda. We are not going to. We already agree that what they're saying is true. Why would we want to change it? Think about it that way. Yes. Well, sorry, you were saying.
So, whatever we are studying right now is beneficial for them.
Whatever right now we are studying, no, we are.
Not this particular thing. Just the education system.
Yes, beneficial for them. Yes, but that's what this text is challenging. You have to look inside. You have to do the research and find out. But again, back to the text. What do you guys think this portion means? How does Orientalism transmit or reproduce itself from one epoch to another? Orientalism is a discipline. How does it change from one period to another period? Simple.
It's depend on the situation.
Depends on the situation, depends on the people who are doing the research, depends on a lot of things.
Whoever taking the charge.
Yes. What is the meaning of originality, of continuity, of individuality in this context? In the context of Orientalism, what is the meaning of continuity, of originality, of individuality? So basically, Orientalism is challenging. Edward Said is saying you have to question everything. You have to start questioning all these things that you have studied here. Okay, continue. Governed by such concerns.
Governed by such concerns, and humanistic study can responsibly address itself to politics and culture. But this is not to say that such a study establishes a hard and fast rule about the relationship between knowledge and politics. My argument is that each humanistic investigation must formulate the nature of the connection, the specific context of the study, the subject matter, and its historical circumstances. The methodological question.
Okay, stop. My argument is that no, but this is not to say that such a study establishes. Please mute your phones before you come to class. But this is not to say that such a study establishes a hard and fast rule about the relationship between knowledge and politics. Okay, knowledge and politics. My argument is that each humanistic investigation must formulate the nature of that connection in a specific context of study. The relationship between knowledge and politics, okay, has to be understood case by case for each situation. Okay, you have to understand the historical circumstances of something that you're studying in order to understand the knowledge power relation or the knowledge and politics relation, the relationship between knowledge and politics. That's all he's saying. Okay, another thing. Wait, where's my marker? Let me take it out. Is it in my pocket? Yes, it's in my pocket. I do have it. So we already studied that there is something called pure knowledge and political knowledge. Okay. What is pure knowledge? Literature.
Which is not related to politics.
It's not just literature. Anything that is free from the political part. You can instantly know what is political by when you look into it, right? Literature, poetry, drama, so on and so forth. Political knowledge is knowledge of a country's military strength, culture, economics, history. Maybe we can say political history. History, terrain, sociology, so on and so forth. Okay. And then there is, think of it this way, non-political knowledge. Okay, pure knowledge is non-political knowledge. So there's a difference between the two, right? Said now says there is no difference between the two. Okay, all knowledge is political. According to Said, all knowledge is political. Even non-political knowledge is political. Why? I just explained. Why is non-political knowledge political? Because everything that you thought, everything that you're studying is all, everything has an imprint of politics on it. Politics-এর ছাপ যে জিনিসটা non-political আপনার মনে হচ্ছে ওটার উপরও আছে, এই জন্যই political. So indirectly or indirectly, no matter whatever you're studying, whatever you're consuming, it is political in nature. It is always brainwashing us. It is always propaganda, no matter what you're studying. Okay. So according to Said, there is no difference between pure and political knowledge. This is all the same. For him, this is all of it is political. In particular, what kind of political? Western politics. Politics of the Occident. It's serving the politics of the Occident. Okay? Serving the politics of the Occident. Let me give you guys an example. You guys, some of you guys have done business studies, right? At school. So we often find that there's a scarcity of books. So books that talk about the Bangladeshi situation. Okay. So the books that we read, you always use European examples, American examples. We study Chinese economy or American economy or their business structures, their political structures, how businesses work in those countries. But we don't really study how businesses can work in our country. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? So we have to sort of come out of, studying business from their perspective to studying business from our perspective. This is, you were saying, why don't we change? We know that it's all propaganda. Why don't we change? We don't change because there are many reasons. There are some people who want to stay in power. They don't want to, if they change it, they will lose power. And then there are other reasons too, like it's a huge investment. Doing the research and writing an entire book is a huge investment. So if we want to make knowledge that is beneficial for us, if we want to create knowledge or that is beneficial for us, we have to do a lot of investment as well. Monetary investment, intellectual investment, which a lot of people are not ready to do. Okay, so keep this in mind. There is a distinction. Said, however, says there is no distinction between non-political and political knowledge. All knowledge is political. You guys, I need you guys to understand why. Why is all knowledge political?
থিওরিটিক্যাল একটা ধারণা দিয়েছে, দেন সে এক্সপ্লেইন করতেছে একটা প্র্যাকটিক্যাল রিজন আছে যেটা কেন পলিটিক্যাল, আমরা যেটাই করতেছি পিওর নলেজ এবং পলিটিক্যাল নলেজ কেন এটা পলিটিক্যাল। প্রথমে একটা থিওরিটিক্যাল বিষয় আমাদের দিচ্ছে যেটা হচ্ছে একটা ডিফারেন্স আছে, তারপর হচ্ছে আমাদের প্র্যাকটিক্যাল একটা শো করতেছে বিষয় যে এটা কেন দুটোই কেন সেই
হ্যাঁ, সেটা কেন, কিভাবে আপনারা উদাহরণ দিবেন? You guys are going to use examples. Use an example to explain to me why this is the case. I mean, I just explained. The question is, why is all knowledge political? Why? I just explained it to you guys.
Because the non-political knowledge is also influenced by the political knowledge.
Yes. Non-political knowledge is influenced directly or indirectly influenced by political knowledge. So even when we are consuming non-political knowledge, we are consuming political knowledge. Okay.
So an example to use
In short, we are consuming Western propaganda all the time, no matter what we study. Okay, that is basically what Said is saying. Okay. Another concern that we have is, another thing you guys have to understand is, and you guys already know, so Said also says that the West is always the authority, the Occident is always the authority in whatever the subject, they're always the authority. You guys would agree, right? Do you guys agree or not? We take the Occident to be the authority for everything, on everything, no matter what they say. Do you guys agree?
Yes, sir, very much.
Yes.
So we have to agree. We have to agree.
We have to. We have no choice.
We don't want to agree, but
We have to agree. We have no choice. Even those, so there are people who don't want to agree but are forced to agree. But then there are people who agree a lot, who actually agree from their hearts, because they've been consuming the propaganda.
we don't agree from heart, but we have to agree.
No. Look, here's the difference. It's not that we don't agree from heart. Some of us do agree from the heart. Otherwise, why would they still be in power? This is precisely the problem. Some of us do believe it from the heart. A lot of us don't, but a lot of us do. Some of us are divided. Some of us are going through a cultural confusion. Not sure what's right and what's wrong. Very confused people. In the middle ground. Do you understand? Some of us are sitting on the fence. Some of us are neither here nor there, neither on this side nor on that side. They are confused. So the scenario in the colonial lands, in the colonized country, is like this. Some people are on this side, some people are on that side, some people are very confused. But the authority is taken to, but the Occident is taken to be the authority, okay? Continue from here. Page 19, last paragraph. How many classes do we have left? One more class, fine. There is nothing.
There is nothing mysterious or natural about authority. It is formed,
Disseminated.
It is instrumental, it is persuasive, it has status, it establishes canons of taste and value. It is virtually
Indistinguishable. Distinguishable.
From certain ideas it dignifies as truth, and from traditions, perceptions, and judgments it transmits, reproduce. Above all, authority can indeed must be analyzed. All these attributes of authority apply to Orientalism, and much of what I do in the study is to describe both the historical authority in and the personal authorities of Orientalism.
Okay. There is nothing mysterious or natural about authority. Authority is not mysterious or natural. It is formed, it is created, irradiated, it is spread, disseminated. It is instrumental, it is used, it has a purpose. It is like an instrument. Authority is like an instrument. It's an instrument of control. It is persuasive. What does persuasion mean? Exactly. It is persuasive. It has status. Authority has status. It establishes canons of taste and value. It establishes taste, value. It is virtually indistinguishable from certain ideas. It dignifies as true. And from traditions, perceptions, and judgment, it forms, transmits, reproduces. Above all, authority can, indeed, must be analyzed. All these attributes of authority apply to Orientalism. All these things that he's saying apply to Orientalism. And much of what I do in this study is to describe both the historical authority and the personal authorities of Orientalism. He's saying that in this study what he does is he tries to traces the kinds of authority that are present, historical and the personal authorities. Okay, we are going to jump to page 22. The difference between representations. Actually, no, wait, give me a moment. Let me just read this part a bit. Actually, no, there's no need to read this part. It would be great if we had the time to read it, but we don't have the time to go through everything. Let's jump to page 24. Page 24, last paragraph, or yeah, the last perhaps self-flattering observation. Somebody else read. Okay, you've done enough. You're tired now. Who wants to read? Who wants to go?
The last perhaps self-flattering observation or myth of that I want to make here is that I have written this study with several audiences in mind. For students of literature and criticism, Orientalism offers a marvelous instance of the interrelations between society, history, and textuality. Moreover, the cultural role played by the Orient in the West
Connects Oriental. Yes, go on.
Orientalism with ideology, politics, and the logic of power. Matters of relevance, I think, to the literary
Community.
For contemporary students of Orient from University of Scholars, policymakers, I have written with two ends in mind. One, to present their intellectual genealogy to them in a way that has not been done. Two, to criticize with the hope of stringing discussions the often unquestioned assumption on which their work for the most part depends. For the general reader, this study deals with matters that always compel attention. All of them connected not only with Western conceptions and treatments of the other, but also with the singularly important role played by Western culture in what Deepak called the world of nations. Lastly, for readers in the so-called third world, the study proposes itself as a step towards an understanding not so much of Western politics and of the non-Western world in those politics.
Okay, stop. What is the third world? What is the third world? Third world countries,
Yes.
colonized countries. They're performing very poorly economically, socially, politically, in every way. Continue.
As of the strength of Western cultural discourse, a strength too often mistaken as merely decorative or superstructural, my hope is illustrate the formidable structure of cultural domination and specifically for formerly colonized peoples. The dangers and temptation of employing this structure upon themselves or upon others.
Okay, stop. My hope is to illustrate the formidable structure of cultural domination, specifically for formerly colonized people. Addressed to us, formerly colonized countries like Bangladesh. The dangers and temptations of employing this structure upon themselves or upon others. Said is warning the third world and the colonized countries. The dangers of adopting what? Occidental propaganda.
It's not easy to get rid of that.
No, not easy. Very difficult. Almost impossible, I would say. So this study is a proposal towards understanding Western politics. The strength of Western cultural discourse and its strength. Okay? So this is like a warning basically that he's giving people, that he's saying that this is relevant for you guys. It's important for you guys to know. He's addressing the third world. One aspect, page 26, last paragraph.
One aspect of electronic postmodern world is that there has been a reinforcement of the stereotype by which the Orient is viewed. Television, the film, and the media's resources have forced information into more and more standardized molds. So so far as the Orient is concerned, standardization and cultural stereotyping have intensified the hold of the 19th century academic and imaginative demonology of the mysterious Orient. This is nowhere more true than in the ways by which the Near East is grasped. Three things have contributed to making even the simplest perceptions of the Arabs and Islam into a highly politicized, almost
Raucous.
almost raucous matter. One, the history of popular anti-Arab and anti-Islamic
Prejudice.
prejudice in the West, which is immediately reflected in the history of Orientalism. Two, the struggle between the Arabs and Israeli Zionism and its effect upon American Jews as well as upon both the liberal culture and the population at large. Three, the almost total absence of any cultural positions, making it possible either to identify with or dispassionately to discuss the Arab or Islam. Furthermore, it hardly needs saying that because the Middle East is now identified with the great power politics, oil economics, and the simple-minded
Dichotomy
of freedom-loving, democratic Israel and evil,
totalitarian
and terroristic Arabs, the chances of anything like a clear view of what we are talking about the Near East are
depressingly small. Stop here. So a few things. I'm going to end today with this explanation.
What is the meaning of raucous?
Raucous is loud, noisy. Okay. A bit of history. You guys have to understand a bit of history to understand this. So when the Orientalism is primarily done against Muslims, because when the British and the French, when they say East, they understand Muslims. When the Americans say East, they understand the Japanese and the Chinese. But nowadays, Orientalism has become associated with an anti-Islamic attitude. Long story short. So let me explain something here. So in the beginning there were two big empires. Okay, no. Actually, no. Let's not start there. In the beginning there are two great rivers in the world. Two great rivers in the world. Do you guys know what rivers these are? Nile and Euphrates. One in the west and one in the east. Two civilizations grew up around here. The east manifested the Persian Empire. The west manifested the Roman Empire. Roman Empire, Persian Empire. For thousands of years, they were locked in war. Okay, stalemate. None of these sides are winning. They're warring. They're trying to gain the upper hand on the other. Okay. You guys have watched 3000 BC or something, right? 300 BC. Anyways, some of you guys might know a bit of history. Come in. For thousands of years, none of them could gain an upper hand. These are 1,000-year-old empires. Something interesting happens in the 8th century. Actually, in the 7th century, with the advent of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. In the 8th century, actually, what happens is, after his death, two armies. So in the south, we have the Arabs. After his death, the Arabs are finally united. United Arabs. Arabs in the south. In the 8th century, one Arab army goes to the east, one Arab army goes to the west and dissolves the two empires, 1,000-year-old empires. And from the 8th century onwards to roughly 16th, maybe 17th century, roughly, this is a rough estimate, the Arabs rule the entire world, for example, dominate the entire world. Think of it that way. So what happens here, around the turn of 17th century, that's when the British, the French, and the Western powers, or the Occidental powers, they start to gain an upper hand. Okay? And once they started conquering other lands, wherever they go, they meet the who is their enemies? The Arabs, the Muslims in particular, because Arabs are not everywhere, but Muslims are everywhere because the Arabs spread Islam. So the Muslims are their enemies now. Now this is excluding the Far East, which is China, Mongolia, and like some of the more Far Eastern countries like Japan and those countries, South Korea, North Korea, excluding these. So they don't really make contact with these countries, but they make contact with the Muslims. So the Muslims are their enemies now. So when Orientalism is done, 17th century onwards, which is when Orientalism formally begins, what we face is anti-Islamic propaganda. So first of all, there are some things you guys have to understand. Orientalism is, for the most part, anti-Islamic propaganda. Okay. It is, however, not only anti-Islamic propaganda. It is propaganda against all non-Western populations also. Okay, because colonization happened in you guys already know America as well. America was also colonized by the Europeans. Okay, American natives. So Canada also colonized, New Zealand also colonized, Australia also colonized. So these are all colonized regions where Europeans now live. So these are some of the things that you guys have to keep in mind. For the most part, Said is concerned with the Islamic Orient, the Islamic East. All right. We're going to finish the rest of this. Actually, a little bit is left. We're going to finish this in the next class. Okay.